these people are getting out of control with the way they treat these kids. So I made a TikTok the other day about these other kids that were found living by themselves for like 5 years, right? And now this other kid right now they just found in Texas, she was autistic and nonverbal, and they said she looked like she's 19 and she looked like she was 13. Look, check this out.
Saw the severity of how Delilah was found. Can you kind of describe that severity of what investigators saw when they found her?
So bad they can't even show us the pictures.
Originally, when the officers arrived, they thought she was probably 13 and didn't realize she was 19 years old. It was, as described, skin to bone. There was large lacerations, exposing decaying limbs, and even some of the bones from her shoulder and on her arm and her leg. She looked like she was in a mummified, in a mummy state of on the floor. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. And she was just in a curled up position on the floor, and it was just unrecognizable for a 19-year-old to be in that position.
So
How long did you
emotional
say
about
it
this.
took for her to get to that state? The amount of time it took?
We don't know. We don't even have a time frame. We've spoken with several doctors and medical examiner's office, and we have, at this time, we don't have an
Never
idea.
probably seen
They're
us
still doing running
before.
tests to see how long it took from, to get to that point.
There are other family members living in the house as well.
Correct. The mother, the grandmother of the victim, and the great uncle.
Will grandmother and great uncle be facing charges?
At this time, I'm not in the position to speculate if anything is going to happen to anyone else, but we're still continuing our investigation, and we will execute and interview as many people to figure out what happened and why did it get to this point.
It gets to you seeing these photos and knowing that this is a 19-year-old girl.
Absolutely. As a father, our job is to protect our children, and when a nonverbal daughter lays helplessly, you sort of wonder what was going through her mind, where she couldn't communicate or even share some of her pain or suffering to others, so that she can get additional help.
And you described for us somewhat the some of the injuries. You showed us on your arm. Could you kind of show some of the things you saw in the photos? Describe that for us again.
I don't remember specifically where I was just pointing out on some, but I know that she was curled up and exposing on her right side, where she had, I know her shoulder bone was protruding out, and I know that she had some abrasions on her right leg, the way she was curled up.
They said that she was basically in a mummified state, and that they found her. Okay, so they called the cops, EMS or whatever, and when they got there, the EMS called the cops. They said that she had already been unalived for about 4 hours. When they finally took her to get examined, they said it had been probably 24 hours.
Incident happened February 14th, which was 8 days ago. We're now hearing about it.
And that it was like she was like in a mummified state.
During that time, we were interviewing teachers, students, neighbors, family members. We were trying to get an autopsy, and we were trying to figure out if what was going on from the medical examiner or what their results were. We weren't sure if
So they found her on February 14th, pobrecita.
victim had choked on something. On the affidavit states that the mother was feeding her a goldfish. So at that time, we were unsure if what had happened at that time, and that led to her being deceased.
Could an earlier welfare check have changed the outcome of this?
Absolutely. If someone would have noticed or would have been any concern about the child, they could have easily called 911. We would have responded and personally checked on the victim, and maybe we wouldn't be here if that would have happened.
You've been in this community for such a long time. Is this kind of one of the most worst crimes you've seen in this community? I don't know. It seems like it has affected you deeply.
It has affected me deeply. So as being public information officer for several years, we also worked a similar case where there was a child that occurred here in our city where the pastor thought that child had demons, and so he went through the similar of not being fed, and similar characteristics from the victim were also on the child, and so it did spark some memories about that.
Any message to the community that you want to say? If you see something like this, or how can the community help, or what can they do?
He's
It's important
upset.
that
Look,
community
he
and
wants
family
to
members
cry.
communicate,
Pobrecito.
with each other, especially if there are some signs of
Good
neglect,
man.
or if
Oh yeah, he's like really emotional. Like he's really sad about that. You could tell in his face. And the way he was talking, like, that was me speeding it up because he was talking like so slow. So like he was really emotional, like you could tell. But yeah, y'all just, like I said in the other video, check if you know your neighbors have kids or whatever, check on them, man. Like how I said, you don't have to be nosy, you don't have to go over the top with it, but if you notice some things, do check on them, because you don't know, you could be saving their lives. In the other case, those other kids, they were left by themselves for 4 years. The mom was just door dashing them food, and this girl, she 19 years old, body looking like a 13-year-old, and when they found her, she was basically already in a mummified state. So how long does that take? They asked him on there, how long does that take? And they said that they don't even know how long that would take. So yeah, just, it's so sad, man. It's just crazy. And Pobrecita, that she had autism and she was nonverbal, so she couldn't even express herself. They said that she was very violent or whatever, so that's why they had her like back there. No, like the other family members didn't want to mess with her because she was so violent. And I don't know how old the mother was or anything like that. And even though that's no excuse to just lock her up and put her back there, they said that the only incident that they know of was back in 2021 or something like that, where she had got into a fight on the bus. So, but that when they went to go check on her, that she looked, everything was healthy, everybody was fine, and they moved on. So 2021 to 2025, that's 4 years. I mean, what happened but from then till now, so sad, man. It's sad that like how I said, she was so innocent, she couldn't even talk if she wanted to for help. Like, people are messed up, man.